Don't you love a good cup of tea? Just want to explain a few things about my car. It's getting old, like 2008 model. I'm getting old too, I'm 62. Still a bit of a hoon at heart. It redlines at 7,000 RPM, but I've dropped it back to 6. Because, you know, you do worry a little bit. It's high K, even though it doesn't use any oil whatsoever. I've put in a larger intercooler. That's all I've done to the car. MHD stage 2 plus. That's what I've tuned it to. It doesn't throw anything, any check engine lights or anything. XHP stage 3 in the gearbox. Now I was planning on selling this car and buying a later model. I drove the later model and I love the gearbox in it, but I still didn't get the power that I feel that I'm getting with this. That's the newer 335i. When I did the gearbox with the XBH stage 3, it just transformed the car completely. Everyone that's got a 335i should always throw that in. You don't need the dual clutch. It changes in a millisecond and it's absolutely beautiful. And it made the car feel more sporty. It's quicker. The other thing I had to change, because I have broken 2 axles on this car with the power. There's a lot of torque. I had to buy 2 new axles. Now I went on the forums and had a look, and I ended up buying them in the US because guys were saying that I'm still breaking axles. Now this particular model does not have a limited slip diff also. I pulled the diff out, eBay, $500, and transformed it into a limited slip diff myself, and that transformed the car as well, because I was always wearing the left hand rear out, and when you're running 280s and 285s on the back, they do become quite expensive. So I just love this car now. My next little venture on it is I'm going to change all the suspension on it when we've got a little bit more money to cope with all the extra power it does have. I don't drive mad like the young blokes probably do. I'm always very careful. However, when you're out and you've got someone beside you in their HSV, they just don't know or understand how you can piss off in front of them. You know, they pull up down the road and they don't even look at you because you've just blown them away. The other thing with this car, it's really light in the arse end. Something that I have discovered with it is that in 4th gear at 160, it's just touching on the 5,000 RPM. You can still get yourself into trouble because it does still light the rear wheels up if you flatten it, because they're so light in the arse, even at 160, 140 and 160. So you've got to be really careful with that. But I'm enjoying it. I just want to let you know about all these little things that will go wrong with it. But it's not hard. You can do it yourself. I have no oil leaks with this car. There was a lot of things changed under warranty, which was I was lucky. The sump gasket was done. The high pressure fuel pump was changed under warranty. The injectors were all changed under warranty. The turbos were changed under warranty with this car as well. So I was lucky I got all that done before. There's no rattles, squeaks or bumps. For a car that's done over 250,000 kilometres, I think that's pretty good. I always change my oil and filters every 6,000 kilometres, and I use a synthetic. You still got to use a very light oil, otherwise your turbos won't work properly on these. You've got to have that light oil in them. So you've got to find a bit of a compromise. If it was using oil, I guess I probably would be using a bit higher grade, but it's not using any in between services. Never uses a drop. So always keep your pods clean. Don't let them run too long. I take mine out every 10k, clean them, re-oil them. I think that's pretty important, and that's very important for your rings. So, but anyway, that's my little story about my 335i that I love, my love affair. My dog loves it too, by the way. Now, your radiator reservoir. See that hose there? It runs down. You can see I've got 2 clamps. Now, the hose will always go in between here and there. Always, because of the heat. And what I've done is I've taken that off, which is easy, and cut and just put new hose in there, as you can see. Through there. That's the next thing will go that you cannot see on those 335i's. Now, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a hose. There it is, that hose goes up onto a little plastic fitting that goes into the head. That plastic fitting fails onto the head. I've replaced that with a billet one. They're only $49 on eBay. I'd be inclined to be doing that ASAP, even with one with 60,000 K, because that will get you stuck on the side of the road. See that nice little shiny tray down there? That's the first telltale sign that your rocker cover gasket's starting to leak, because you'll see that shininess will end up with oil on it. Goes down the side of the motor, gets into all sorts of stuff. Goes back, runs back, of course, along everywhere. You need to really do this rocker cover probably the moment you start seeing it leaking. The other thing you need to change, which I change anyway every 60,000 Ks, you got an O-ring that starts leaking. That goes down onto your belts, and then you got all sorts of problems. If you throw your belt down there, it makes a huge problem because it goes inside the motor, and you've got to pull all sorts of things to pieces to get at it, to repair it. Gets down into underneath your coils. You start getting misses and all sorts of stuff going on. You can see down in here, that's where the oil will lay, in behind the coils. And if your car's done 80,000 K, 90,000, if you've got nothing better to do, it will start leaking at probably 110 K, or if you want to wait. But the problem is, if you wait for the oil leak on your rocker cover, it gets down into all of your injectors, everything on top of the head. Number one thing you should replace when you buy a high K 335i is all of these. And you can see where they run in under here, down in here, that's priority, because they do perish and everything. So, and check that these canisters, this for your boost regulators down there, make sure they're not leaking, because you'll throw engine lights if they have a leak, your boost controls. Another tip with your Beamer, if you've got the same setup with your bonnet here, these are actually plastic and they break really easy, and over time when people lift in the bonnet they come loose or break off. When you put your hand in underneath to do it, just lift it from under there. Don't use these to lift it with your hand. See, look, they're flimsy.